We're back for another episode of the Colon Games. After Maki's masterful massacre last week, the bar is set pretty high, but I'm glad to report that I actually thought this episode was very good. Like, it's an actually well-written episode, but even then, old Gege strikes back. This man did something so infuriating that I can't stand it anymore. But we will talk about that later in the video, because there's actually a lot more that's good to talk about. We open up with baby Panda. Oh, he's so cute because it's Panda and we love Panda. He is the GOAT of all time. Well, I guess technically he is the Panda of all time, which I guess you would just call that POTE. We hear an older man's voice discuss how Panda has become self-independent despite being a puppet. One that can consume cursed energy from what a sorcerer can provide. But its cursed energy is its own and can use it to replenish itself. That's a very Jujutsu Kaisen way of saying that Panda is his own thing. I mean, he's gained sentience, he's just his own thing. But the outcome is that Yaga, who is seriously underrated, by the way, let's be real, like, a lot of JJ characters are underrated, and he is actually one of my favorite personalities of the series, like, overall. Since then, he has been designated a special grade, and thus is being detained indefinitely. And the reason, like most things this messed up world of sorcerers do, is born from a kernel of fear. If Yaga could create something as cute and adorable as Panda, then he cannot be trusted to not somehow create an evil army to overthrow Jujutsu, which to me makes sense as a basis of reason, but I just feel like is an overreaction, and I don't know, it's Yaga. Come on, he made Panda. My guess is that this irrationality is birthed from a place of power that they don't want to lose, otherwise you can call that fear. After being detained, Yaga talks to his friend Taku. There is like something on my arm right now. What in the world is bothering me? Sorry. I'll get back to the video. Who seems to be the same as Panda. He tells him that he will be going on a trip again and to not worry as Tengen is protecting the forest and their mother will soon pay a visit. And he leaves as we see all of the little woodland creatures tell him that it'll be lonely without him. I love this moment here because it shows exactly why Yaga is so underrated. He's got a heart of gold that is undeniable and endearable, which helps elevate his character beyond just the mature teacher type. Also, good God, he looks right out of the Matrix. Every time I look at Yaga, dude, I just love Gege, man, for his character designs. He's so good at doing that. But we switch perspectives to Panda, who was talking with Kusakabe being captured, was just bait to draw out Yaga, and we see the two meet with a woman with white hair in a wheelchair. He tells Yaga that he must move on and live, pushing forward, but that isn't the case for his sister. I like the way that she was portrayed from an art style direction here, by the way, because we can see this lady has, you know, these hints of beauty that are marred with disheveled hair, sunken and soulless eyes, dry skin and lips, and just this striking white hair. It portrays through art that this woman's soul has left her body and she is but a human without a ghost. And we learn here this is the mother of Taku. It starts to come together here as the mother sees her son and Taku, and life comes back into her body, but not that of happiness or joy, of deep sorrow. Because as soon as she stands up, she is just as quick to fall back down and crawl back to her feet to hold Taku as she weeps. Voice acting was so on point here and was beyond sad. In my opinion, I think this was horrifying. There is nothing more sad than a mother like that in such a state. And what is even worse is that Taku cannot live with his mother, as the existence of such cursed corpses cannot be made public. Meaning that, I guess you could say, the politics of the situation are destroying these families and these lives. And that goes even further, especially as the episode goes on. This gets really deep. Yaga is confronted on his way to visiting his family the secret methods to creating a cursed corpse, but the ripping of an open E-cord from a flying V plays out as the mood is set, and oh my god, it is set so well. Gaku Ganji is my spirit animal with that guitar. Maybe more specifically, that guitar is my spirit animal. You know, I've always wanted to buy one or maybe even build a flying V, which, by the way, recently I built a Telecaster. Maybe I'll show it on the screen now, I don't know. But after the chords ring out louder and louder, we cut to after the fight with Yaga against a wall, defeated. Yaga basically goes on to tell him that he copies a soul's information, then inputs his own information into the cursed corpse's core. But the catch is that he must place 3 souls which have to be compatible, which is a detail that you probably should remember. Then he must constantly observe them as they stabilize, which creates an ego, and then after 3 months it begins to self-replenish cursed energy. Basically, a Jujutsu Kaisen way of saying he basically is a father that is able to create life. He's a god. Gakuganji is beside himself with anger as to why he never just said it outright. And this is striking. It's almost, once again, horrifying in the way that it is delivered, and when you start to think about it, it's really dark. He simply responds by stating that it is a curse from me to you. Wow. I mean, there is so much to break down with that statement. To simply put, now Gakuganji knows the curse of being a god that can create life. And is there nothing more horrifying than that? He dies, and Panda arrives, rushing to hold him in his arms. Gakuganji asks why he doesn't hate him, which Panda explains that he is not bound by such things as hate. And to him, he is just a knife lying on the ground, which I thought was a really nice piece of imagery. But even so, a panda can cry as he weeps just as Takeru's mother did, mirroring that scene, and Yaga passes away. And I may be a bit of a nerd by saying this, but I'm a little embarrassed to say this. I really don't want to say it, but it's YouTube, so I'm going to say it. I sort of got a little emotional here. I did not want Yaga to die. I think overall the message here was how family can be ripped apart because of outside forces trying to divine it or control it. We see Yaga in the middle of this situation where all of these cursed corpses to him are his children, his family, his friends. But to others, it is a tool that they can use to fight more effectively. Which is ironic because Yaga was detained for the same thing, yet we all know Yaga isn't like that in the least. These Jujutsu are the exception. They are the ones who want to create an army of soulless husks to fight their own battles and take over. It shows how humanity itself can be weaponized, that we can transform our human nature into a machine of killing so very easily. I truly feel for Yaga, and I feel for Kusakabe and his sister. I think that's one upside in JJK's ultra-depressing tone, is that we get moments like these where characters and messages are able to stand out just a little bit more than they usually do because of these characters having a more happy tone to them or a more positive slant. It's a juxtaposition, having to deal with depressing things all the time, but through that, trying to remain as happy as they possibly can. But I do have issues with this overall, so I'll save that for later in the video, because I want you to watch the rest of the video, because I think it's a good video. Tengen informs them that Hakari is in the Tochigi Prefecture running gambling matches where sorcerers fight one another. They go to change clothes so they don't spook anyone because of their alliances, which is another thing. In this moment, they sort of need to be in a bit of a gray area with their allegiances, because from Hakari's point of view, they are the bad guys, so they arrive at the gambling matches only to nearly get their faces caved in by the guards, who want to know how they know where they were. Megumi comes up with the story that they killed someone who knew where this was taking place, and it does work out as Itadori is able to get into the match. Megumi will infiltrate the parking lot while Itadori will fight, so we know basically how things go wrong later. But they don't want to waste any more time than they have to and remind each other that they need Hakari on their side, setting up this urgency of the situation and also showing how important it is to balance and pace themselves. All Itadori needs to really do here is win big and show off an impressive show. As in a surprise, Itadori faces off with the Pote, Panda. And yes, you know me guys, this one is a dream match. Ever since Panda was randomly throwing Nobara around for fun, now I'm depressed because Nobara is my trigger phrase. I miss Nobara. Anyways, you get it. Panda versus Itadori, and you know this is gonna pop off. I love Panda's introduction, which was like, standing in the opposite corner, weighing in at over 400 pounds. Panda! He is a panda! Just a panda! Why? Because it's a panda! All hail Panda! Let's get ready to panda! This is when we get our first glimpse of Hakari and his girl, Kirara Hoshi, who is absolutely a number one of Gege's best character designs. I don't get it. This guy can sometimes barely write a coherent character arc for some of these characters, but he always nails the character designs. Anyways, Panda and Itadori fight, and it is so good. It is everything I ever wanted from this series. Him hitting him and just bouncing off his bubbly belly was so cute and endearing, but also so badass when they really start to just get into the fight. It was a fantastic mix of humor, truly great animation, and fighting with a lot of impact, despite the fight being so lighthearted, which is what surprised me. Mappa really understood what they were doing here, and I couldn't help but to laugh and be impressed. Very good moment, one of the series' I think funnest moments in this season thus far. It was a little highlight for me personally. And I love Hakari so much and how Mappa portrays him. He's kind of dirty, a little sleazy, but he's got his methods and his reasons. His stance on luck, as an example, is quite laissez-faire, but only on the surface, as we learn much more later on, that we'll talk about in the video. Combine that with how he is visually shown with Kirara practically all over him, you get the sense that he enjoys the life of being in control, and he revels controlling the chaos around him. Also, Kirara, like, good God, Mappa. Same with Hakari as well, like, why do these two look so good? It hurts. It hurts that they're in JJK and not in something like JoJo. They would totally fit in a series like that. I also love that character moment where he brings up his ex, which enrages Kirara. Oh God, so funny. I just love it. They're both so just goddamn perfect for each other with their own little dynamics. We then see when Panda and Megumi met up to discuss the plan to take control of the area to allow Itadori time to talk with Hakari. It's quite a decent plan, and it makes sense with the fight we saw between the two. It was all a setup, a fake match. But their issue is with Kirara's technique, which can warp Itadori out or bring more guards in to deal with any emergency. So the walk to Hakari, to me, that was a little bit of a fascinating moment as well. Kirara is an odd one who liked the fact that Hakari had to repeat a year in middle school, and loves it when her man gets that fire lit inside of him. It's small, but it does show that Kirara pays a lot of attention to him and genuinely does like him. It's a pretty good detail. So when he goes to meet Hakari, his first question to Itadori is what would he say if he were told he could do 1 hour of work and get 10,000 yen? Would he believe it? Which, you know, that's the classic scam they used to use a lot back in the day. I kind of missed that one. And so the scams play out as he's like, yeah, it depends. He then responds further with the scam, telling him that he would need to pay 20,000 yen to get knowledge. That was a test to see if Itadori had good intuition and to see if he can be trusted. So he further explains his ideology. His perception of it is that it all comes from the passion and heat of wanting to change your life, and that scam in particular preys upon that. But that isn't the issue for him. He doesn't reject the heat, he loves the heat, because without it, a human wouldn't be able to do something as simple as fall in love. And he goes further, and this is why I'm such a mega fan for Hakari, because of this moment right here. He says that many women have dumped him over gambling, but to him, it is no addiction, technically speaking. It's more of striking the balance of knowing when to hold and when to fold, because you gotta know. And that only comes through intuition. It's the same idea that drives much of the yin and yang philosophy as well. The duality of man and this idea that humans work best when they both accept rage and love as these extreme opposites and find the balance to remain in the middle, a boat floating through a river as things pass by violently or peacefully. It matters little. What matters the most is just the boat. The river simply flows through the boat. This is the idea behind Hakari's philosophy, really. So he rejects the calm life because the calm life doesn't matter when the heat of the moment rises. It makes him feel alive. Calm doesn't. It makes him fall in love all over again. And heat is gambling, and gambling is life. I mean, think about it. Our entire lives are dictated by the margins, by statistics and probabilities. And gambling, heat, all of that really is just an interpretation of those numbers put into human feelings that we can better understand. His goal is to use love, which is control, to smash everything and basically be the ultimate punk rocker, which is probably why he's with Kirara, who is a total punk rock girl. So as a phone goes off, ignored, he offers Itadori a drink, to which he turns down alcohol because he is underage, which is not nothing here. This is a little bit of a cleverness. It's another form of gambling, you could even say, knowing when to have the intuition to accept or not accept something, because you know it would be bad for you if you did. In this case, Itadori is underage, which shows that he is responsible, sure, but also he knows not to deal with stuff such as that. Turns out, though, that he's been found out as calls from Kirara are basically warnings. So he beats the crap out of Itadori. I mean, mollywops this kid to end the episode. It was so good. God, I love this episode. This was such a great episode. Real quick, I'm a partner with GamerSubs. Use code CTATICS to get 10% off. When you do, I get a commission, which helps feed myself and produce even more content. I recommend picking up a waifu cup and tub combo, which they have a wide selection of. Thank you. Now, back to the video. So this is another solid episode of Jujutsu Kaisen. I think episodes 2 to 3 just weren't very good for reasons I stated in those videos, which you should definitely go watch if you're especially just watching now and you don't know what I'm talking about and you may be angry, which I'm sorry, that is not the intention. But this episode though, oh my god, this was good stuff. This is what happens when Gege actually writes something that is entertaining, even when it is just talking, which, yes, talking can be entertaining. We didn't need aura, hype, or movement here because the dialogue and the characters were interesting. Hakari's stance on life, as an example, is fascinating. Genuinely interesting stuff to think about. He's not complicated, but that's not the point. His writing was enough to make him likable by the end of the episode. That's all that matters. I love his stance on gambling and how it can be translated to life. It's very philosophical, and that's a great thing for this series, as that is, I think, the writing that excels. For Gege, at least. Kirara, as well, isn't as interesting as Hakari, relatively, but we don't know much about her just yet, though I do love her design already. Her VA, and just how she is portrayed, very clearly she is loyal to Hakari, and Hakari greatly appreciates that, as he mentioned prior, just how many times he's been dumped. And through what he says in this final scene, it says loud and clear that Hakari loves Kirara for who she is because she accepts him for who he is. Because he has heat, and she loves heat. But we can tell that based off both of their designs, you know, they're also very punk rock too, very artistic in their self-expression visually, which is, I think, a visual representation of that heat. So overall, I think this was just the best introduction to a new set of characters we've had, I think, in a good long while in this series. But there is some bad in this episode, and I'll be brief because I'm just tired, boss. I'm tired. Yaga is yet another character killed off screen. I don't know what Gege was thinking. Maybe he just didn't want to do it. And I want to be as well very clear. I will never use the term lazy for anything, ever. So don't say that. Gege, despite my issues with JJK, tries very hard and gives it 110% every chapter and every moment, even when it falls flat. But he could have done more with Yaga's death. He just didn't do it. Why didn't we get to see Gakuganji versus Yaga? Why? Dying off screen is easily the worst trope in Gege's writing, and it does nothing but frustrate viewers. Even worse is his trope of killing characters without them ever even trying. Nobara. Oh, I'm sad again. Check out the next JJK video here or my previous content. Also check out my Chainsaw Man channel. It's so good. Make it a great day or not, the choice is yours.